A Cuban-American man from Seattle wants President Trump's attention, so he's biking across the country to get it. Carlos Lazo is riding a bicycle from Washington State to Washington, D.C. to convince the Trump administration to lift economic sanctions against Cuba during the coronavirus pandemic. He's doing the trip with some help from his sons and his nephews. Carlos Lazo joins me now via Skype from Helena, Montana. Carlos, your mission is called Bridges of Love. Why did you decide to take this on?
Well, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and I think that countries should cooperate instead of sanction each other. For 60 years, our country have had animosity between themselves, and sanctions, and the Cuban people is the one who suffers for these sanctions. We create a petition like 3 months ago, and we send the petition in change.org to President Trump, but we never get an answer from the White House. 20,000 people signed for that petition, mostly Cuban-Americans, and we Cuban-Americans, a great majority of Cuban-Americans, want different policies toward Cuba, where we can visit our families, when we don't have to go through all these inconveniences that have been created in the last few months. That's the reason because we are doing this, going across the country, creating bridges of love. First of all, to be able to unite our country, to our two countries. I always say that Cuba is my mother and the United States is my father. There I was born. Here I had the other half of my life. I want that my mother and my father, that is the Cuba and the United States, get along good. And I'm going to bike with my sons and my children over there to call the attention of our government to do that.
And Carlos, along with trying to get the attention of President Trump, you're meeting with legislators and voters along the way. What kind of conversations are you having with them?
Well, that's a conversation that I'm having with the voters and with the legislators. Sometimes they don't know what the embargo means, and I just call the attention about, for instance, recently the administration prohibited that flights from the United States to provinces in Cuba. They basically canceled those flights. For us, it's very difficult to visit our families when we have to just travel to one airport and then travel by road to other one. Also, there is a lot of restriction for us to send money to our families in Cuba, either in the United States or from other countries in Europe. It's impossible. Western Union doesn't allow those remittances to be sent. And finally, and not least, right now in the middle of a pandemic, the U.S. government is basically trying to stop the vessels that bring fuel to Cuba. And I want to remind the U.S. government that fuel is the one that light the Cuban houses, the hospital, and move the ambulance. Instead of being fighting right now, instead of being trying to sanction, we have to be cooperating with others.
And Carlos, this is a very long trip. You're thinking it's going to take you 4 to 5 weeks and 3,000 miles. How are you feeling?
I feel very, very happy, and I feel so full of enthusiasm. Along the way, we received the support of regular Americans. Also, along the way, we received the support of legislators. Yesterday, we biked with one Montana senator. He joined our bike, and we hope, we already have scheduled meetings with different elect officials, and we different people, Republicans, Democrats. It doesn't matter what the political background is. It doesn't matter the creed, religion, or race. We are all Americans, and we are in this together.
And Carlos, my very last question. We have very little time left. What's been the best part of your trip?
I cannot answer that question because every single minute is a great part. Every single minute we receive message from Miami, from Cuba, from people giving us encouragement, people biking along with us from different countries, sending us songs and videos to encourage us to keep going, because they feel that this is here is the will and the heart and the love of the Cuban people wherever they are.
Well, thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you so much for your time, Carlos, and good luck on your road trip. Suerte con todo.
Thank you for having me. Gracias.